Begin by setting up a hot water bath. Take a small beaker with 40 milliliters of water to the hood.
Now do this step in the hood using gloved hands. Measure out 20 milliliters of sulfuric acid. And then, while stirring, add the 20 milliliters to 40 milliliters of deionized water. Remember, you want to add acid to water. You may notice some steam coming off of here. This is an exothermic reaction, so the bottom of the beaker where the solution is going to be very hot. You will want to use a weigh boat or a paper cup to measure out your chemicals for this week's lab, as you're going to be using sizable amounts and they may not fit easily on a piece of weigh paper. You will need to grind the boric acid using a mortar and pestle. This will take several minutes because you'll have quite a bit of the boric acid in there. So just keep working at it until it doesn't really feel granular anymore, grinding for at least 2 minutes. When weighing out your boric acid, initially weigh out excess from what you are expecting to need to use into your paper cup. You will then transfer this to the mortar and pestle to grind. Your ammonium fluoride is rather hygroscopic, and so you're going to add a little bit of an excess from what you calculated as the amount that you should use. Take the boric acid and add it to the acidic solution, stirring to dissolve it. You want to make sure you quantitatively transfer all of the boric acid. So use some deionized water to transfer the last little bits into the beaker. It won't dissolve at room temperature or even at the warmer temperature room neutralization. So place your mixture into a boiling water bath. You will need to stir and get as much to dissolve as possible, though it may not all dissolve. Remove the boric acid mixture from the heat and then add the ammonium fluoride in about 7 to 8 small portions. In between each scoop that you add, make sure that you stir the mixture so that the reaction process can begin. The resulting mixture should be clear with no precipitate. When you are done with your final addition, you're going to move this back to the hot water bath for about 20 minutes to allow the reaction to complete. While this is heating on the hot water bath, if you notice any crystals that did not end up getting dissolved in the initial mixture, wash them down with a small amount of deionized water. Then, periodically, as the solution is losing water to evaporation, add a little bit more water so that you maintain the same volume throughout the heating process. After the mixture is heated for 20 minutes, remove it from the hot water bath and prepare an ice bath. Cool the solution down by running cool water over the outside of the beaker. Then, place the mixture in an ice bath to cool more completely. Set up a filter apparatus with a Buchner funnel to filter. Use a small filter paper and wet it with deionized water so that it will be secure when you begin your filtration.
Suspend your product by stirring up the solid into the cold solution and then transfer it into the Buchner funnel. You will need to rinse out your beaker a couple of times with cold water to get all of the remaining solid. Finally, wash the product with acetone and allow this to be collected with the filtrate. Once the acetone has dried the product, use a spatula or a stirring rod to break up the product so that the air pulling through can continue to dry the product. Allow the suction filtration to pull air through your product for a couple of minutes. Weigh a large watch glass and then transfer your product to the watch glass. Allow it to dry until the next lab session, or if you need to, heat it in the oven for about 10 minutes to drive off any remaining water. Then you will use the weight of this product to determine your percent yield and a portion of the product to make the next product in this step.